Every relationship is tailor-made.
Yeah.
It's two people who come together and they're deliberate, making a decision that, you know what, we need to make this work. No relationship work, we make it to work.
Decision brings intentionality. Hello everyone, how you doing? How you keeping up? Of course, I know and believe that we are doing well, and coming this far, we really thank God for giving us another opportunity for another show, and of course for a great discussion. You know, we always have good things for you guys, and today I am joined by one amazing person once again who was here, and he was able to share so many great insights regarding relationships, and of course how can they be successful. And today we want to have a continuation of the same, because this thing is very wide, but we're going to just mention a few of the things and hopefully continue with time to get the best out of it. So thank you very much. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Yes, feel free to just introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Prince Nyamori. I'm a gospel music and a minister and an entrepreneur.
Wow.
That's basically much. And well, of Matters of Love, I'm part of a small group of youth who we call ourselves the Love Letter Initiative. Yes.
Wow. So be sure to catch up with the last show. He did really create a good foundation on what he's going to connect you with today. And I believe we can now dive in as deep as we can to the remaining points.
Yes.
And of course, get to understand why, or rather, how do we get to have successful relationships? Because people really want to really settle down and have to find the right person who they believe they can do life together with in the best way. But there are things that are, or rather we say, they are prerequisites to anything that is successful. There's always something that comes before you get the success you want. So I want us to really talk about that, and we will be done.
Thank you so much. I think today I'm going to try and be brief as I can, but based on, because this is a continuation, everything is tied up within decisions anyone makes. Unless you are making a decision to, and they say love, it's a choice, it's a decision. So if you're going to have this successful relationship, what you really need to consider is, like, are you ready to make decisions for that same relationship? And generally, every relationship, you have to make decisions, because as you're walking into it, you want it to be beautiful. You want it to last long. You want to be ever happily after. But are you willing to make the decisions for you to make that? Because something that you make a decision for, you work towards it. Most of the people want to have a good relationship, but nobody is ready to make a decision and be deliberate about working on it. Just going back to what we spoke last time, it was about the values. And like, you see, you are growing up. Martha, you are growing up, and then you are raised from different ideologies of life. You are raised from different beliefs or setup, and then you as yourself, as now, like, you are a grown-up person, you are in a different environment where, like, you have to make a decision, like, are you going to live by this or not? There are people who, like, you are raised up in a home where, like, your father or your mother, one of the parents, was abusive. So unless you're willing to make a decision not to live like them, then you will not have a good relationship. Some of the people, you see yourself from a mirror. I come from a Luya family where, like, men believe tukikohoa unaitika. But now you are in a relationship where, like, we need to have dialogue between you and your partner. So are you ready to make a decision to come out from that? Are you ready to make a decision to have your own code, have your own line, like can you create your own line and walk within through that? And most of the people, they come to that place and they are stuck. They are stuck to their past. Of, like, this is what I know, things are done. And, like, just when we were joking before we came to the show, like, if you're not willing to put aside what you know and grasp onto something new and be ready to work on it, every relationship is tailor-made. And if you think that what happened to Brian or Kevin or Rachel or Jane might work for you, it may not. So are you willing to make a decision to actually walk your life?
Yes. I really love your point. Decision brings intentionality.
Exactly.
And people don't know that actually intentionality is what makes relationships survive the long-term period.
Yes.
Because they move from emotions,
yes,
the emotional howl and the kind of high that people go through, that season ends.
Yes.
Then you have to come to the intentional point where you don't have any emotions fueling the action
No.
you have to really bring on board.
Yes.
But you are intentional about the fact that I love this guy, I love this woman, and I have to be intentional in bringing bringing the best out of this relationship.
Because again, nobody is born good. No relationship work. We make it to work.
True.
No relationship, no marriage, no partnership works. You can't just sit and then you imagine like these glasses are going, like this is a glass of water. If I have to drink this water, I have to be intentional with it, get my hand on it, lift it up and get to my mouth. So most of the people come into the relationship and like, man, I'm looking for this amazing, fine young man, fine young girl, tall, black and handsome, who will just love me for me. We don't want you on the table. What decisions are you bringing on the table that can make us? Because if come away how pangwingwi, then relationship will have to panga you. Because there are characters and habits you will come and then you sit with someone on the table. Like, let me just give this a life experience that actually made me walk away from one conversation and we end this short. One day I went on a date with this lady and we were just having and then catching up. And then this waiter walks to us and then is like, excuse me, what will you like to be served? They can be, tafadhali tupatie 5 minutes. And then she's like, why are you saying tafadhali? They are paid to attend to us. To me, I was like, that's kind of harsh. She's like, oh, Prince, where I come from, we are rough. If I'm paying for it, then I have to get for it. You see that statement alone. She was like, where I'm coming from. But where you're coming from doesn't suit this. Yes. So if you're stuck to, unless you're willing to make a decision that this is what works for us, not for you as an individual. Yes.
Wow, so decision, the decision to really do the right thing and the things you decide to bring on board to make these relationships, or rather relationship work. And I love the fact that you said relationships don't work. We make them work. So that's very important. It's work. Let me emphasize that. No relationship works, my dear. No relationship works. It's two people who come together and they're deliberate, making a decision that, you know what, we need to make this work. Let me give this an example. You are my partner. Tumekosana na wewe, si ndio? Whatsoever tumekosana is genuine. Let me paint a scenario. We were supposed to meet at somewhere at around 2 and then you came at around 3. I'm trying to make you explain, but you're like, babe, I'm sorry, I'm just late. It doesn't get to my nerve. It gets to my nerve. I get pissed off. That moment, the decision I make to react on that moment will determine the rest of the evening, even if we are going for a date. So there's what I call myself is like my ABCD. You know, it's like, okay, Prince, cool down. Okay, if you get pissed off with her and then umfuria for the next 1 hour, how is that going to benefit you? Are you ending the relationship because she came late? No. Mnaachana because she came late? No. So why waste 1 hour of talking about how she was late and she was already told you like, I'm sorry. Drop the shit and let's move on. So again, everything bottles down to a decision. Wow, and of course the decision to do the right thing. What will make the relationship work. So wow, that's amazing. We can move on to the next point. Yeah,
and the next point where like this, I love this. I can talk about this day in and day out, day in and day out. It's called sacrifice and compromises. I see most people that are getting into the relationship and nobody is willing to sacrifice anything. In fact, most like, Munadijua, you always say like, hey man, me I can't sacrifice for a man. As me siwezi sacrifice for them. Hey shit. You know, we talk that.
Certain things we can't do.
Yeah. Kwanza, if that is within your system, that there are certain things I can do. I'm not saying that you should actually stoop low to your standard of life. But if the idea of like there is what you can do and there's what, and I want you to get me right, I'm not talking about boundaries. There's things when we talk and then we talk about like boundaries where like this is what you're supposed to cross and this is what you're supposed to cross. But our sacrifices and compromise are for the better end. Like can you sacrifice something? Can she sacrifice something for you? I've heard people say like, hey, Pana, hey, Mimi, I've built my thing. You know, I can just sacrifice that for a man. Let me tell a story of like, I love stories. It's believed in United States, in Texas actually. There was this guy who, they were Kenyans and then they moved to Texas. And then when they moved to Texas, both of them on a green card. And then it's the lady who actually got job Kwanza. And for 11 years, the man was jobless. It was the lady who was actually footing the bill. Can you imagine 11 years? Footing the bills, footing the bills, footing the bills, footing the bill for 11 years. And they lived. Now the story goes that the first day, this man actually got a job. The job alipata, it was paying 3 times better than the wife. The first car this man bought, alinunulia the wife. The first home yenye like alijenga the mother to the wife. What I'm just saying is like, it looked stupid to this woman to like, no, hey, but if you can't find job, we've had experience where like people actually travel and like you're with this partner who like kazi meisha, and then you feel like, hey, you know, you're dragging me. If you're not willing to actually make a sacrifice and do some compromises of like very simple things, you know, people like, do you know some relationship ends because where we meet you don't like it? Like me, I'm used to meeting to this restaurant. Uka pana. I once dated a lady who told me like, Apana Prince, they are certain street in Nairobi. If you know you're going to take me there, please don't let me come for the date. Wacha nikuje home. Wacha nibaki home. So nobody is willing to sacrifice anything. And if you're not willing to sacrifice, people sacrifice that are kazi. Like today, can you imagine like, if your mind cannot capture that I can sacrifice, I can let go this work for the sake of my marriage or for the sake of this relationship. If you cannot sacrifice to even move to another job career, to another town for the sake of relationship, then your future about that relationship has a question mark.
True. Because people think that relationships, they are coming in to really get the best out of the other person. When it's the opposite, it's actually the giving. Then the giving requires sacrifice. Because there's so much you'll have to compromise if you have to live with someone. And of course, to be able to have a successful relationship, and you are dealing with a different person. In the first place, this is an opposite sex. There are so many sacrifices you'll have to make because you're dealing with a man, you're dealing with a woman. A woman is emotional. How will you be able to sacrifice at the point where she's becoming low and learn how to experience that situation? The man is maybe logical. How can I be able to be wise enough to reason in his level as much as I am a very emotional being? So there are so many sacrifices we make as individuals, and it is very important because the first act of love was a love that was accompanied with sacrifice. The love of God. Of
course, and that you'll actually, it's where we should emulate. And so if you're not, what matters in that relationship is like, consider yourself. Are you at the place where you can sacrifice something? Because again, it's if you're willing to give, then trust me, it will come back to you. What goes around comes around. And most of relationship, most of relationship end at a place of one person being the receiver.
Because people are not getting something from someone.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm not saying like you come with an aim of like getting something, but trust you me, if you are in a partnership, in a relationship, in a marriage where like this is one person just giving, one person giving. And giving it not just in terms of giving gifts or so. Even if we have one person who is emotionally, he's the one giving. You know, socially, he's the one giving.
One who sacrifices his time all the time.
Yes.
Resources, everything. I mean, it's a two-way thing. If it has to, because it is involving two people.
In fact, it's boring. That kind of relationship. It's boring. Can you imagine being with someone? Let me just a little bit. But being with someone who like is like every time ukisema like let's go out, can we meet at such a place? Like, no, let's meet here.
Yeah.
You see, that person, he or she can sacrifice for yourself. He's like, apana, it's ABCD. I was in a relationship like that where like, where are we meeting? Galitos. No. And we do barista. Like, well, but we are going to eat. This is like, yeah, we can do this. Unavaa nini leo? You see, even on like, I chose today, I'm doing a black top, and they're like, no, that is no. Sometimes sacrifice is actually letting that person be themselves. You know, not wanting to change anything from them, but it's just like, I love this trouser, but it looks bad on you, but I love it because again, can you just sacrifice? Because I've realized most of the time, kwanza see my boys, we want our ladies to look in the image we want. And sometimes they are not even looking good in themselves. You see, because I believe beauty is start from inside. So if I'm dressed and I don't feel smart, I'm not smart. So sacrifice is important.
So that's very important. I mean, compromise and sacrifice, you will do it every day. It's not even once people are thinking it's going to be about one thing.
Yeah.
It's an everyday thing when sometimes somebody will get late and you have, or other things will not go the way you planned, you have to be the one to accept the situation. Sacrifice is a daily thing. Yeah. Wow. So in conclusion, I just want you in a minute or so to just share one major thing you want, just share your heart out to these people and tell them how it has been easy for you, and even how, of course, spilling the beans, he's engaged. And I mean, getting to that level at this, such a level at this kind of times and seasons, it's an additional kind of, effort for you to really achieve that level of success. So, yeah, just tell them in a minute or so.
Well, I don't know. I honestly, but like my experiences, I can't sum it up all in a minute. But what I can tell you is like what matters in a relationship is happiness. Is happiness, and I'm not saying that happiness of like my happiness matter. I'm saying a happiness of peace. A happiness of peace. Sometimes the kind of peace you have, it will be against people. It will be against family. It will be against friends. But if it's peaceful, make that decision. If it's peaceful, make that decision. And the best I can emphasize is make the decision. Because if you make the decision yourself, then you are ready for the repercussions on yourself. Yes, I'm engaged, and that came actually from a point of a decision. After like 2.5 years of friendship, and yes, I remember so vividly. We had gone out on an evening date, and I was ready. That was the third time I was walking with my ring, just looking for the opportune time. Right. So again, what matters mostly, if I can sum it up, is decision.
Wow.
Decision.
And especially for the men, men are always busy waiting for the right time to be able to have a woman in their lives. Women are always ready because somehow family is just in us. We are always prepared to really have a family because they're already envisioning the good times, the good children, the good seasons of serving this person.
Now that you mentioned that, I know I've finished my partnership, but let me just say on that, men sometimes, Jama, there is just one woman who you will meet, and then you feel like, apana, this is it. But basically, when we meet that one lady as men, we actually don't want that. Yeah. We never want that. We never want a woman who is ready to settle. We want a woman who will let us be. And we don't know that as a man, if you're dating a woman who let you be you, I have a question mark.
Yeah, true.
I have a question.
And it's true. So, a friend of mine keeps telling me women determine how fast you settle, because most of the time it is easy for a man to, you know, they are really focusing on the next goal, and they might even, as long as I have you in my place, things will work out eventually. But it's good as his head to have the decision to do the right thing, and of course the right time for you to settle down will come with the right person. I mean, for me, I would also want to add something in my small experience, as he said about about sacrifice. I will just finish with this one thing. Relationship is more not just about compatibility, because we keep on being told being compatible, this person has to be this way for you to fit. It's really more about flexibility. The flexible you are, the easier for you to really have somebody and accommodate any kind of human being according to the standards you desire, and be able to have a peaceful life. And on top of that, of course, nothing else works without God. So we leave everything to you, and of course the decisions to the best you want to make. For us, is just to guide you, to just give you a small map to the direction of where you want to go, but everything is unique. Work on you as you have a unique relationship, and be sure to trust God for the process. And that is it for today. My name is Martha, and I keep on wishing you all the best. We are still in the wee hours of this year, and I know that we are going to succeed to the best level of how much you are going to work towards the efforts of success. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening.